Ladies and gentlemen, the flutes are in the chat because it is time for everyone's favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. So Dave Meltzer had this to say about Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank cash-in. He says that Seth Rollins was reportedly planned to cash in Money in the Bank at WWE SummerSlam after Gunther versus Punk in the main event of night one. The SummerSlam card originally, scheduled Cena vs. Rhodes as the second night main event. And at that time, there was talk of possibly adding a stipulation that had not been determined yet. Gunther vs. Punk was at the point scheduled to headline night one and end with Rollins cashing in, Bryan. Well, here's the problem, stupid idiot. You then went on to say that it's a shoot work injury, and you went on to say that Rollins and Reigns was the plan for Observer, for SummerSlam. You said in the Observer, prior or after this, one of the two, that Rollins and Reigns was planned for SummerSlam. So Dave is just literally saying any and everything. He can't even keep his own bullshit straight. And that's why he's a dumb fuck. So we move along here. He gave Moxley, we're going to do all the star ratings, but he gave Moxley versus Page a 5.5 stars. I'm sorry, bro. That match was shit. It even had the same finish we've seen before, but a shittier version of it. And out of all the matches on that card, I don't think it was the best one. Dave is trying to hype it up as this triumphant thing, and a lot of dumb fucks in the IWC. Yes, that's right. You are dumb fucks.
Stupid idiot.
When you guys say this fucking NPC response, oh, they're just Dave's subjective stars. Why do you care? This is why. Because Dave, if you say that to him, he will then rebut you and say, no, they're not objective or subjective. They're objective. I've given matches that I don't even like more stars because blah, blah, blah. And he's never given a criteria. The only curriculum, the only criteria we know of that he's ever said, like flat out, he stated on multiple times, we covered this on the show, it's based on how the crowd moves. If the crowd's moved, then that's the only thing he's ever alluded to that's like some form of like, oh, that gets you points with him. Now you could argue different things. People are like, well, what do you factor into a good match? Well, one, if it's out of 5, it's out of 5. We're not going higher than 5. That's redacted. Okay. Secondly, that's restarted. Okay, chat. Secondly, it would factor in multiple things like venue, the build has to factor in, the participants, what they do in the match makes sense and shit. Like you could argue a bunch of that shit didn't make sense to even do. You could argue the finish didn't even make sense. Moxley's getting choked out, and instead of standing up on the apron, which he was about to do, and to get out of that chain choke, he fucking tapped in a death match instead of like going unconscious. Like even that you could argue is stupid as fuck. But Dave, we knew was going to shill stars for this event. We knew it was going to happen. Right? So we have more of them. We'll get into it later. But yeah, for anyone who hits you with the, oh, they're just his opinion. Okay, right. But he claims it's not. So we got to roast him until he goes, oh, my bad. I was talking shit. It's just my opinion. I shouldn't have said it wasn't just my opinion because that's foolish of me to do. That's foolish of me. And if it is just my opinion, then why am I responding to people saying it's not just my subjective opinion? And Dave doubled down on that. We have it today. Okay. Here on the show, right? Flute weight titles on the line. Meltzer's flute weight championships. So again, Nick LoPiccolo, he got Meltzer trending. Okay. And I told him that today. I was like, bro, Meltzer should be thanking you. You got him fucking trending, bro. So Meltzer says, most of my friends watch AEW on Max. Dave, they watch it at your house and make fun of how you react to the fucking shitty matches. And they laugh about how the matches are the same all the time. That's why they watch it on Max, because you have it on Max. All the polls taken indicate the same. Dave, your polls are done in your echo chamber bubble, and these are the same polls that made you claim 30%, because you're a dumb fuck and you don't realize that these are anecdotal polls and they don't extrapolate to the greater audience. Like Bryan Alvarez tries to get you to understand this. They got in an argument, which there's no clip of. I hit up Meltzer, said what, but there was no clip of that I could find in the stuff he sent me about, like, Meltzer was talking about over the weekend. He's like, yeah, after the AEW show, like, none of my friends wanted to stay and watch any. They wouldn't even watch any of the WWE stuff. And he tries to pretend like that's indicative of, like, the entirety of the fucking mankind, you know, the whole entire population on Earth. Like, that doesn't mean anything, Dave. And Alvarez was trying to get him to understand that. Brian's like, Dave, it's because they're AEW fans, Dave. And like, you know, you understand more people watch WWE, right? Like, what do you, we get it. You and your group of friends. Hey, the goth kids don't want to go to the fucking Taylor Swift concert. No one likes Taylor Swift. That's fucking stupid, right? And of course, Dave, if you studied the business or ever ate Wagyu Big Macs in your life, you'd understand this. Okay? But he says all the polls indicate the same. The people who argue that it's a small number are the same people who cling to AEW as a failure, which is preposterous at this point. No, Dave, I don't cling to AEW as being a failure. But I do agree with the fucking numbers not being large. You, Dave, what you do is fucking
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard, coping and seething.
Imagine if Bischoff or fucking Raj Giri was like, well, everyone I know watches WWE on Netflix, so it's the numbers higher than they tell us. Like, imagine that. He would be like, well, that's not true, Brian. You know? And he would just be like, oh, you know who the best guy is? His name's Tony Khan.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
So here's all the star ratings, right? Meltzer star ratings for All in Texas. Hangman Moxley, 5.5 stars. Okada Omega, 5. 4 3/4 stars. So I made the joke. I'm like, he really does add 2 or 3 stars if it's in the Tokyo Dome. He literally has become a fucking meme of himself, dude.
You know, poor people don't like AEW.
Like, he actually gives you 3 bonus stars if you're in the Tokyo Dome. He just proved that, right? So Tony Mercedes got 4 3/4 stars. So again, how do you watch Tony Mercedes and then Okada Omega when the crowd's getting exhausted too, as we watched live and pointed out? How is that the same rating? Like, if every match on the fucking card is 4 or 5 stars, then that means none of the matches on the card were 4 or 5 stars. The 3-way tag got a 4 stars. Like, it's not the same shit we just watched on this Dynamite. This 4-way tag. Like, it's not the same fucking ass match we get on every Collision. A women's casino gauntlet, that sloppy shop gauntlet match, 4 stars. See, Dave went into this with his mind. He knew the ticket sales couldn't do it. So in his mind, he knew going into this that he had to control this narrative, shout out EC3, and like this is Dave controlling his narrative and being like, yeah, look how this is the greatest event on paper of all time. He has to do that because it literally sold as many tickets as a Raw, you know? So Swerve Ospreay versus the Bucks, 5.5 stars. So Swerve Ospreay versus the Bucks and Hangman Moxley, the same thing. Dustin, Sammy, Garcia, and Fletcher, 3 stars. Men's Casino Gauntlet, 4 stars. So we just gave both gauntlets 4 stars, and then gave the 4-way tag match 4 stars. So you get an automatic 4 stars if there's 8 or more people in the match. So, okay, we're figuring out Meltzer's criteria and rules here. Well, if the crowd moves, I'll just make up whether they're moved in my head, Bryan, and then I'll give you stars. That's one criteria. It's like a Richter scale. That's another criteria. I mean, I guess that's another, rule to this scale, right? We're trying to figure it out, Chad. Okay, so figure it out with me. So here's 2. Okay, we've confirmed if it's in the Tokyo Dome, that's 2 or 3 extra stars, right? Now, chat, we got a new one. If there's 8 or more people, automatic fucking 4 stars.
You know, poor people don't like AEW.
Boom. So, Drain Bamager. Oh, yeah, then the Ops and Death Riders, 3 3/4 stars. Like, what gives it the 3/4? Because this is what Dave's doing. I'm going to explain it because I think I figured out what he's doing, right? And what do I know? I'm fucking Phil Don't Miss, dude. It's not like I'm good at this pattern recognition shit. But listen, bro, this is what he does. He's no longer rating. It's not like when he's rating this, he's thinking back to like Kawada and fucking Misawa match in 87. It's not like he's factoring it in and really thinking about matches, right? Because it's overly diluted. He watches too much wrestling, right? He's desensitized to everything. That's why he has to watch this dumb shit. And that's why he gives this dumb shit fucking 17 stars, right? But here's what he's doing. He's looking at other matches. So he looks at the card with a preconceived bias or notion about the shit, and he goes in his head, I know for sure I'm giving this main event 5 stars, like no matter what, right? It would have to be so bad that I would look so dumb giving it this many stars, even though he already does look dumb doing it. But in his mind, right, Dave, like it would have to be so bad for him to not give it 5 stars. So he already knows he's going to do that. So then the rating starts from there, 5.5. Oh yeah. And then what he's doing for the rest of the matches is he's rating it based on the narrative he's trying to push of the card. And we saw it in his reports. He's like, oh, that Hangman Moxley match and that Swerve Ospreay Bucks match, 2 of the greatest of all time. You know what I'm saying? And those are also the matches that like Big Boom AJ and them were pushing the most. So Tony texts everybody, hey, we're pushing these, right? And so Dave knows the objective. He's friends with the Bucks. He's friends with Kenny. We understand the assignment here for Dave. So he knows, like, I'm going to give these matches the best ever. So then when he ranks the Omega Okada one, he goes, well, it can't be as high as the other ones, but it can't be higher than Hangman Moxley. And then it's Tony Mercedes. That can't be higher than Okada Omega, you know? And then the 3-way tag. Well, that can't be higher than Tony Mercedes, but I can't give it 3 stars or less because then people will say that I rated it low, even though you guys get what I'm saying? He's comparing it to just the shit on the card. Now, like it's his favorite matches on that card get the best ranking and then everything, which obviously people are going to be like, no shit, Phil, but do you guys understand what I'm saying? It's on that card. He's no longer ranking it compared to like the last decade of wrestling or like what WWE's doing or like just in general or like, hey, every match I saw this week. Now when he ranks them, it's just how do I paint the narrative of what I think the best match was till the end on this card. And that's where we end up with like over 5-star rankings. I swear to God, if that makes any sense to you, chat, I swear that's how he's doing it now. That might be completely redacted, like autism shit I just said to you guys. But hey, we're right? Takes a dumb fuck to know a dumb fuck over here. And I'm calling Dave out on his shit. But he had this to say. We covered it before. He got asked, what was it including Max? And Meltzer goes, we don't know. Low end estimate, 885K, high end 1.1 million. Da-na-na, da-na-na. We need the fucking Dr. Evil music for when we don't know, low end 885, high end 1.1 million, Bryan. Down, 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 moo, moo. That's what it's like. Him and his fucking gaggle of cronies in a secret lair, right? And they're just fucking cackling about how they're, I have a plan. We're going to shoot a laser and distort the news. We're going to put out, quote, misinformation. Come, Mr. Bryansworth. It's a hairless fucking, or what's that other guy? Gary? Who's the other guy on the show? Come, Mr. Gary's worth. It's like a hairless fucking. Oh shit, dude, that's funny. Throw me a freaking bone here. So he gave Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Naomi a 4.75 stars for the women's world title at Evolution. Except for Naomi wasn't in that match, so what the fuck is WrestlePurist doing? Oh yeah, I guess she was, right, with the cash-in. Duh, dummy. But no, Dave, so you ranked the triple threat aspect of 4.75 or its entirety, right? We have to figure out how we're grouping these together here. I'm just getting confused now. No. Here we go. Ricochet had this to say. So Meals TV says, if you read this week's Observer, you see the clear biased reporting in how both companies' successes and failures are presented. It's actually insane. Ricochet goes, quit acting like every single one of you aren't biased either. Okay, then you do the same and don't say shit. Like, what the fuck? I hate this, like, whatever. It's all good. Why do you do this thing while I'm doing the same thing that you're doing? Oh, I don't know, stupid. Fuck, man. I would agree, but there's a difference between a fan and a reporter. Fans get to choose that, even though tribalism is fucking dumb, but reporters should be unbiased. And then Ricochet goes, don't watch or read his stuff. Yeah, then take your own advice and don't read or respond to this stuff. Fuck, like, what are we doing? Moving along here, WWE. So here's what Meltzer reported, dude. Listen how fucking stupid this is, man. Holy shit, this one makes me laugh, right? When I read this, I almost couldn't believe it. I'm like, is fake? Are we AIing Meltzer again here? He says WWE reportedly has plans to position Rhea Ripley, Fatu, and Breaker to be the next top stars of the company. It's like, Dave, you do not watch this fucking show, dude. He really doesn't watch WWE. He's just now, he's like, Io Sky, I'm telling you, one of the best ever. Yeah, you just figuring that out, Dave? Rhea Ripley, oh yeah, she's going to be a bona fide star. I'm telling you, I predicted, I wrote about it first. If you read my writings, you know that in July 2025, Brian, except Lex Luthor. I actually wrote about it. 8 million words in 2025. That come 2026, Rhea Ripley will be a top star in WWE. What the fuck? Like, tell me you don't even watch the show without telling me you don't watch the show, man. Think about all the bad ones he's had. He said, this is what he said this week. Seth and Reigns was the planned main event for SummerSlam, but Rollins is hurt, but it's a work shoot. But also he's supposed to cash in against Punk and Gunther, but then he got hurt, but it's a work that they plan going into the match. He literally said all of those things this week. He also said that fucking Bayley and Becky was the plan for SummerSlam when it's clearly Lyra. Oh, they decided to go with Lyra. And then he said that fucking Bliss and Charlotte Flair are planned, WWE planned for them to face each other at SummerSlam after they were announced in a tag match for the tag titles. This is the week Meltzer's having. I should have titled this The Week Meltzer's Having. Week WEAK. Am I right, chat? Okay. So it's pretty fucking wild. And we know why he's acting like this. We know why he's had this weak chat. We know it's right here.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
Right there, dude. The artificial intelligence news, dude. I'm telling you live. So here's Meltzer again. And I went on the rant. Let me read my quote tweet. Well, let me read this whole thing. So Larry Hamill says Dave Meltzer's tastes contribute to the arguments that have arisen between old school fans and fans of the modern product. The criticism of relative star ratings by Meltzer, blah, blah, blah. Meltzer says this. He doubles down. He says, star ratings have nothing to do with my taste. One more time. Where's the rewind? Julia Gulio, we need a fucking rewind. Let's go back. Let's flash back here. Let's go back. He says... Or no, sorry, this isn't even a double down. Or this is a double down, by the way. But this is from 2022. As far back, we can catch him. Star ratings have nothing to do with my taste. Oh, really? So the only so see that, guys? I'm allowed to, if you're going to be, and look, he's being a condescending prick. If you're going to be dishonest and a condescending prick on the internet, I'm allowed to call you out for being a condescending, dishonest prick on the fucking internet. Okay? Oh, well, it's just his matter of taste. Nope. He claims it isn't, so now I get to make fun of it. It's called a lol cow. Look it up. He's lying. Okay? He says, I've hated matches I've given big ratings to, including this week. He claims he's hated. Hate's a strong word, chat. He's hated matches that he's given strong star ratings to. So he's claiming it's not his opinion, and that matches he's hated, he's given big star ratings to. Let me just reiterate that again, guys. Okay? For the people in the back, matches he's hated. Even that week that he typed this out, he's given large star ratings to. So he's lying. We know he's lying. We know it's a matter of taste. Okay? Or else you wouldn't have fucking, where's my liar? I can't even find my liar. It doesn't matter, okay? It's not his fucking taste. We know that, or else Ospreay Hangman wouldn't have got 5.5 stars, but he can't rate other matches in WWE the same. He can't give Io Sky her fucking due, right? None of that shit would be the case if it wasn't just his taste. So this is why I roast him. And then again, when it comes to criteria on apparently the objective, all-seeing eye of Meltzer, okay, when it comes to criteria, he can't give us any. All he can say is that it's based on how the crowds move, right? That's all we know. So according to him, the crowd was moved more during Moxley Hangman than they were during The Rock Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18. So that's just fucking bullshit, pure and simple. There's no way around that. You're fucking lying. Okay? And yeah, this is why we fucking clown you, Dave. I mean, Triple H's thoughts had this to say. Dave loves to pretend he doesn't have a preferred style while also saying his own ratings don't reflect what he personally thinks of the match. Dave is both a liar and a fool. If the matches he hates get great ratings, which seem to happen for every AEW garbage match, that means he has an ulterior motive to prop it up, period. Imagine Siskel and Ebert saying the acting was weak, the story was messy, and the movie dragged on, but the people in the theater loved it. 4 stars. Exactly. It's the same fucking thing. It's like saying, yo, this movie was super shitty, the worst I ever seen. I kind of like this stuff in it, though. Worst movie ever. Well, how the fuck do you say that? That's stupid, man. And so I had this to say. You guys know my take on this. I said, this is why anyone who comes with the NPC response of why do you care about his star ratings? Because he claims they're objective. and is condescending if anyone questions or debates them. He claims that he's given matches he doesn't really like more stars because they qualify. However, the only criteria he's ever given is they're based on how the crowd's moved, so he's just full of shit and demands we acknowledge his stars as objective truth. Throws a fucking hissy fit if you don't. And then the IWC comes to his defense. It's just his opinion, man. Yeah, well, his opinion's fucking wrong objectively. How about that? Fucking Dave. And the crowd loved it. Okay, the crowd loved Rock Hulk Hogan more than any match of all time. So there you go. That should have 17 stars and be the great. They loved that match more than Okada Omega. 32 stars, Dave. Right? So Raj Giri had this to say, right? So him and Dave, they start going back and forth. So Korderas, we covered this before, but this is a follow-up. So he's like, no, I didn't. I asked a fair question asking an opinion regarding a match placement on the show. Of course, you always have to refer to other organizations with the tagline, if you studied your history, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. So Dave also goes, if you studied he's the Holy Bible. In the name of Tony and Shad Khan, amen. Right? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, no, you're not. You don't. In the name of the Father and the Son, Khan, amen. Right? Like, no, dude, you don't write the holy fucking Bible of pro wrestling. And this is why the star rating things deserves to be criticized, and Dave deserves to be smacked around for this. So we covered this. He jumps into Jimmy Korderas' argument and is like, oh, what about AEW? And so Meltzer goes, why did you pick the show instead of the 98% pro wrestling around the world to ask that question? Because he doesn't watch 98% of pro wrestling around the world, Dave, you stupid fucking idiot. He's watching the perceived number 1 and number 2.
Stupid idiot.
Why are you so fucking dumb that you would think that's even an appropriate response, Dave? And he says, if the question was just general comparing the two styles, sure, fine, but then don't get mad when it's pointed out that's how all combat sports do it, but WWE and AEW for 125 years, man. Dave, they have the BMF title on the line tonight, okay? Shut the fuck up. And again, it's like, then don't get mad. You're the one getting mad. No one got mad. He asked a fucking question that you weren't involved in. Dave's just an AEW defender. That's all he is. And he's never had Wagyu beef. And he's never been to a Taylor Swift concert. And he's never had a Big Mac. And he's never studied any of the businesses. So Raj Giri says, let's check notes. Double or Nothing. There was a match between the Anarchy in the arena and the main event. Dynasty. There were a bunch of matches between the best built match on the show and the second. Revolution. MJF versus Hangman as the opener. So why deride him over a legit question when AEW pay-per-views this year often spread out their top matches during the card? Just answer why it makes sense this time as opposed to other shows. Exactly. Dave just can't handle any fucking criticism of AEW. That's all it is. And then because of that, it just garners more criticism. So Meltzer said what sent me this. Meltzer on the Young Bucks. Listen to how he criticizes them. This is a throwback. We're going way back in Meltzer land, okay? And here's Dave Meltzer just giving the Bucks a hard fucking pass here, okay? This is in 2021.
All right, Brandon here says, I know there was supposedly an issue years ago with the Young Bucks not shaking hands backstage at a WWE show. Is that why they are not?
True.
It is true. Is
true.
that why they aren't under a WWE contract at this point? They seem way too talented to not have at least an NXT deal.
I don't know if that.
Shake people's hands, you cocky, smarmy fucks. Jesus Christ. They're in WWE. Oh, that's an old school thing to shake everyone's hands. When you're not hired there, you shake people's fucking hands. Okay? You be fucking respectful, dude. When you're hired there and you work there every day, yeah, you don't have to go backstage every Monday and Friday and shake the same people's hands 400 fucking times. You cocky fucks. Jesus.
If they're great, and I don't know that they're what WWE wants. I mean, if WWE wanted them, they would probably offer them something and tell them to learn to shake hands. But I mean, if you watch the way the Young Bucks work, It's not WWE style. It's the farthest thing from it, and they're small, and that, which is not a kiss of death, but it's a negative for WWE. So they're well, they may. I mean, who knows? They may go. But I mean, like, the whole thing of doing a million super kicks and stuff. I mean, it's like it even kind of what they do. It even kind of bothers me sometimes. I got to let it go because it's like, okay, I know that's the gimmick, and they're trying to get under your skin, and that's the way they do it.
So it bothers me, and I just let it go, and then I give their fucking tag matches where they do 800 super kicks 5.5 stars at All In. When they're doing a slowed down, shittier version that I've seen a million times already. Like, he's already seen the Bucks do this shit. This is, we're talking how many years later? 5 years later. And listen to his critique now. 5.5 stars. Back then, he's like, the super kicks, it's a lot. They do the same match 5 years later. 5 stars.
It's just like, and I will say that when they worked with O'Reilly and Fish, and what was the other team that they worked with on those two iPay-per-views? God, what was the team they worked with in Toronto? I've already forgotten. And they absolutely killer match. Was it Shelley and Kushida?
I think so.
Oh,
yeah, must have been real fucking memorable that you forgot.
Now I got to find out.
The Toronto match. The Toronto match was so freaking great, and the New York match was great too. They were just.
The Toronto match was so great that Bryan has to Google who the fuck they wrestled. It was so great. Oh man, that great movie Lion King? When Mufasa and what was that guy's name?
Lion.
What was that guy's name again? He had the scar on his face. It was just one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Mufasa and
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Like, how is it the best if you don't even remember who the fuck they wrestled, bro? Oh my God. A throwback clip. Dave never ceases to fucking amaze me. This is a diamond in the rough. I love Meltzer Said What so much, man, for sending me shit like this. And I give him praise, and he just brushes it off. He doesn't even like taking compliments, but he's the man. And what a gem. What a fucking gem this is.
It's incredible. And Carino did such a great job of, he sold that super kick to me, where it's just like he made it what it should have been, where it's like so campy that they keep doing it that it's now fun, as opposed to, God, not another super kick. Which used to be my attitude watching him, because, God, they're doing that over and over again, the same thing. So no, but those guys they're you watch them enough. I mean, your original thought.
Oh, it was the three-way, the Hooligans, the Time Splitters, and the Young Bucks.
Yeah, what a freaking great match.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, when I saw them, like, it's funny because when they were in TNA, I wasn't that thrilled by them at all. And people in TNA weren't that thrilled by them. They,
Man, they still do the same match to this day. I mean, what new are you seeing to where it's 5.5 stars now? You were tired of it then. So Meltzer arguing with Korderas. He's like, so what's the issue in the first place? Why is there discussion? Because the show advertised a triple main event, and that ended the show with those 3 matches. It's such a non-subject to start with. Dave, why do you care if it's a non-subject? He's just asking a formatting question. I know nobody in AEW gives a fuck about formatting, and you've never studied the business, and you don't understand what formatting is. You don't even know how to fucking format a fucking paragraph, you dipshit. That's why there's a discussion about it. It's a question. Why? Why don't they spread them out, or what's the benefits to stacking them back to back to back, or spreading them out when we've seen people spread them out in recent years? You tried to act as if it was dated and passe. No, he didn't. He just asked the question to bust it open. Like a fan in cross-promoting shows, and because he's a fan of their show, and you piped in and you tried to act as if that's what he implied. Dave's become one of these sicko. I pointed it out. He's becoming like an X-bot, dude. He's becoming one of these dudes where he's already formulated an argument in his head, and then he comes at you and is like, oh, you meant to say this. So are you saying this? And it's like, no, bitch, I didn't say that at all. You're just like, you're just like adding this extra stuff and then asking me if that's what I said when I clearly didn't say that. You guys all know what I'm talking about. It's this crazy thing people fucking do on X. And that's what Dave's doing right now because he came in with a whataboutism. Now you're just inventing. You tried to act. No, he didn't. The vast majority of groups all over the world do it exactly the same. Yeah, but you're talking about UFC. Talking about UFC. So that's not pro wrestling. It's vastly different. You're talking about boxing. Vastly different. And even in boxing, no, they don't, Dave. Or, oh, they promote Jake Paul as a main event. And then he fights Tyson, not for a title, and then they put the title match before them or whatever the fuck. It's just a formatting question. I know no one cares about that over there, but whatever. We read Korderas' response and how he got cooked. So Nick LoPiccolo, he had this to say. What's not real is you floating, and this is to Dave, you floating some clown conspiracy that I'm working for WWE to gaslight a billionaire. You're not an observer, you're a shill. You hide behind your board and your paywall and pretend no one sees through it, amplified with fake engagement to run off counter narratives. Right? And Nick LoPiccolo, I mean, it's kind of obvious, the fake bot accounts that just show up out of nowhere. Now, who's behind it? Likely just fans, right? People just who have burners or like they're ready to just make one to attack this guy and shit. It seemed, in my opinion, I'm not saying anyone else is saying this, but in my opinion, it seems coordinated, right? From the fans and shit. But we've all dealt with this, right? I told this to Nick personally. I was like, you know, dude, we all go through this and people just, it's like a cult thing, you know? And so, again, he's like, you know, Dave is going to, so what he's pointing out here, he's like, Dave is going to float around a conspiracy that I'm working for WWE to gaslight Tony Khan. Like any of that fucking matters. Like Nick LoPiccolo couldn't get a meeting with Tony Khan if he wanted one. You know? And yeah, he just calls out Dave. It's good to see like legit people calling fucking Dave out. It's amazing to see. So Jimmy Korderas, yeah, just one of his responses was, you damn well know that is not at all what I said or meant. We covered it, man. We beat it to death. I snapped on Celtsy. So Elite Rocker says, it's honestly a shame that the IWC still pays attention to and trusts Dave Meltzer's reports in 2025. Everything he says, the complete opposite always ends up happening. And this is what I hate too, is when people go, stop giving him attention and his heavily biased star ratings. Y'all are the only reason he's still relevant. Yeah, I'll keep Dave relevant till the day I fucking die, bro. Okay? He put 50 years in a fucking around with wrestling, bro. And he says Dave is still relevant. And I wrote this. Dave is still relevant. Not because of us, but because a whole ass fucking billionaire who he texts, by the way. Oh, I was pushing for this. Dave talks about how he pushes for certain talent on Tony Khan's show. And how he's advised Tony Khan. I said, I wouldn't do that. He brags about it. Dave is still relevant because a whole ass billionaire took his money and spent the last 6 years putting Meltzer's vision of what he thinks wrestling is supposed to be on TV and pay-per-view. This whole notion irks me and is stupid. Learn what a lol cow is on the internet and have a laugh. It's the only appropriate response to someone who's chronically online and being a dick like Dave is. Straight up, bro. Like, it's so simple. If Brendan Schaub is going to make YouTube videos for literally nobody, like nobody watches his show, and then bought his account out with bots for 4,000 views on his shit, and then 100,000 people gather on a Reddit to make fun of that, I'm sorry. You lolcowed yourself. Okay? If Meltzer's subscribers are falling off and his subscriptions are falling off and he's got to do 50% deals every fucking 3 weeks, and give away free months and shit, I'm sorry. That's your bad. If he's going to be online being a dick to people, that's his fucking bad. And if he doesn't like it, he can make a video saying, Phil Marks fucking sucks. Why he's wrong. And then I got to deal with it. Okay? But it's just that simple, bro. Like, no, he's a lol cow. He lol cowed himself. Okay? And you guys know how I feel. I'm like, dude, I don't want to see people like have to leave the industry because of or like, I don't want to see Meltzer. What do people want? I've had this debate with people in private as well who are like, oh, the making fun of Meltzer thing is hack. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. It's the furthest thing from it. Right. And it can be hack when other people maybe don't do it at the level I do or a Meltzer said what does. Right. I totally understand that. But it's not, and like, you could say, oh, a joke about fucking, a racial jokes are hack. No, don't put a blanket statement. It can be funny, if someone does it right. Cat Williams does it funny, makes fun of everybody, all colors and creeds. He does it funny. So, like, to blanket say, right? And I've had the question in private. Everyone's like, leave him alone. And I posed the question in private to people like, well, what do you want him to do? Go out of business? Like, I don't want to see Dave broken on the street and irrelevant, and then we're making fun of him because he goes out like the fucking great Antonio, right? I don't want that. I fucking let him chill and make his shekels and fucking do his thing, bro. Like, I'm cool with it. I'm just going to cover it and laugh at it. Like, I don't understand. I'm going to do my angry rants about Dave and make fun of him, right? It's just that simple. So, no, we're not the ones keeping him relevant. Or like, yeah, we're keeping him. He is relevant. That's the problem. Tony took his whole fucking, when Tony's responding to the Observer, billionaire Tony Khan, when the Observer's like, oh, this week's newsletter can't go out. And Tony Khan responds with like a crying face. Right? That's a billionaire going like marking out over Meltzer in his newsletter in 2025. That's what's keeping him relevant. The fact that Meltzer can go on the air and go, see my vision. Oh, I pushed for this guy. Oh, this guy. You don't get it because Tony texts me this. Him doing that, bro, and clearly shit. Like, I'm sorry. It's not fucking stupid to talk about him. We're not the ones keeping him relevant. It's Tony Khan and the sickos, and so we cook him. So then Meltzer, again, just moving the goalposts around. And then Korderas says, what Dave fails to mention is that in UFC, boxing, MMA, and all combat sports, the fighters in the main event are the highest paid on the card. That's not always true. That's not always true. If you're making pay-per-view points, then yeah, that's if you're in the main event and you have pay-per-view points negotiated and shit, then yeah, for sure. But that's not entirely always true. Dave Meltzer said, how is that even? So sorry, Korderas, I'm just keeping it real. That's not the truth. But how is that even? Well, in boxing, it is the truth. In boxing, it is. Sorry. UFC and MMA, not always the truth at all. In fact, we can point to like when they were in Atlanta and Rose Namajunas made like $300K flat plus any bonuses they might have given her off the record, because Dana does that. He'll buy people cars or fucking, send them envelope, give him an envelope, a cat. He's done that a bunch. And so she made $300K flat, win or lose. And she was in like third. I don't even think she was in the co-main. And that was more than I think anyone in the main event got for that same card, if I'm not mistaken. You guys the Atlanta numbers leaked and then Rose confirmed them actually. But yeah, so Jimmy, you're off on that. Other than boxing, I guess you could say boxing. So Dave says Japan, Mexico, and UK do it for shows in pro wrestling in 2025, as does TNA. UFC does it every single show. Almost all boxing promoters do it every single show. I mean, Dave's not like wrong, but it just doesn't matter because this is pro wrestling and this is a world where I don't fucking know, man. He's just asking a formatting question. It's different. It's different when they're looking to stream and sell shit to kids. UFC is not looking at just stream numbers and selling to kids. Now they're looking at just stream numbers because they're about to end up on Netflix in 2026. But I think they'll still sell pay-per-views or do a simulcast or something. Dana loves that shit, and I can see there still being a pay-per-view factor involved. Anyways, so Dave Meltzer, he's in his on his message board talking about answering this guy named El Huapo who says, is it legit him? And they're talking about Nick LoPiccolo. So this guy says, is it legit him or someone pretending to be him? It's legit Nick, guys. Okay. PWT can confirm. For anyone wondering, I can confirm to you, Nick is legit.
He's fat.
He's not. That was the closest one to my fingers. But he says, legit him. Several people in the business after the fact said don't engage, so I stopped. So Dave is pretending that several people in the business, and yeah, maybe on the AEW side people did, because Tony went snooping around asking journalists and shit about Nick. And so Dave is like, the fact, after the fact said don't engage, so I stopped. They know him. Said he badly wanted Tony to engage by claiming $185 million was a work. So this is all Nick is claiming, that $185 million isn't all in cash, and Meltzer fucking knows that, and that not even NFL, when it says, oh, they got a $600 million deal, it's not all cash. And Meltzer knows this, but he won't fucking admit it is the problem. So it's not as profitable as he claims, and even the 185 isn't necessarily upward 185. It's open-ended. It could be less, it could be more.
Baby, learn Meltzer Inferno.
And Nick is just like, bruh, this is all I was saying. And then you fucking had to stick your nose in shit. Then I get attacked by sickos. Then I snap on the sickos. And then they fucking come after me. And everyone's got these conspiracy theories about me and shit. That's all that happened with Nick. He just chose violence one day. And these sickos came after him too fucking hard. And Dave Meltzer is the reason why. He wasn't trying to bait Tony or anything. He's just like, bro, I'm drumming up interest and shit. Like, come on, you know? And you don't know. How the fuck don't you know if, like, he's low-key fucking wants AEW to thrive too? You don't know shit, man. Dave, you don't know shit about these billionaires, bro. I know Tony texts you and shit, but you don't know shit about these billionaires. Come on, bro. But anyways, said he badly wants Tony to engage him. No, he doesn't. He can just, like, phone someone who will phone Tony, and then they'll get him on the phone. You know what I mean? Like, it's, come on, bro. It's crazy. Just Google who signed a Paradigm. Yeah, it's hard to get anyone on the phone. Fucking doing Sydney Sweeney movies, and it's real hard to get her on the phone, huh, Dave? Fucking hard to get Tony Khan on the phone. Shut the fuck up, man. Maybe it is, though. He does ghost people, but come on, man. Only by coincidence to have Ozanian list every sports contract in a graph, and AEW's was 185 million average over 3 years. Here's the thing. 185 million average, that's not all in cash. So that's all Dave needs to really acknowledge, because that's all anybody with 2 cents is really saying, right? And like, okay, let's say they make 14 million. That doesn't mean, like, we'll give Switchblade's math the benefit, because Switchblade's math accounted for everything staying the same, not them doing residencies and shit. So with the lower attendance and the package tickets and shit, that'll likely equal out less than what he calculated. But let's just say 14, 15 million is what they make. Dave's saying that's worth it. Like, Dave's saying, like, oh, they're successful because they brought in 14 million for the first time ever. But he's trying to front like, no, it's hundreds of million. They're bringing 6 million a week and shit. But it's ridiculous, man. It's not. Man, we went over the salaries too that Nick LoPiccolo dropped. And I was telling y'all, I was like estimating, hey, this is probably this guy. This is like someone like this, you know? So really think about all the guys they're paying. A 3 million gate isn't shit when you're paying Edge more than 3 million a fucking year or whatever, you know? And he wasn't even on the show. So anyways, yeah, Dave backed down because he realized Nick LoPiccolo is a legit dude, and it's not because all people said he's legit. Dave realized he's legit. Here, I'll just prove this right now. Let's just correlate it to something 1-to-1. All these sickos attacked him, and all these redacts went after him, and they all realized he wasn't fucking around, and he's super legit. And then they left him the fuck alone and scattered like rats when the lights come on. That's what fucking Dave Meltzer did. He just scattered along with the fucking rats when the lights came on, dude. That's all that happened. No one was like, oh, he wanted Tony to. This is all the fictitious shit Dave's making up in his head about the situation. Meanwhile, Nick LoPiccolo, go on his Twitter. He's showing you screen grabs of what people think and have to say about this. Who do you think's texting him that? You know what I'm saying? So Dave said UFC has been doing multiple main events back-to-back since day one. Okay, Dave, you're not the only one who watched a lot of TV. Yeah, UFC's never done that. The first fucking UFCs were tournament style. And there's one main event, one winner. The two guys who win the tournament, nobody was a star, so they weren't going, oh, here's a super main event and a super main event. They didn't start doing that. That didn't come till like the super fight days. And even then, like, those were the main events. We all knew the super fights, the main event. So I don't know. Dave, he talks all this shit about UFC and shit, and he's fallen off in the MMA world. But Nick LoPiccolo says even the Grok burn was a rib on Meltzer, and a normal person asking Grok, what does it mean? And then, yeah, he's roasting these people. So Sean Rossap says Paradigm, who represents Punk, Jade, and Liv, have signed a top AEW star. Fightful is told. Yeah, they signed Darby, if I'm not mistaken. So Grok, some guys like, what does that mean? Why would someone ask Grok what this means? So then Nick LoPiccolo says, woof, we didn't even do that WWE deal. She has a rep in that area. If every rumor wasn't all over the dirt sheets, maybe an agent who doesn't watch AEW wouldn't be aware of potential opportunities. That's literally what my job description is, to evaluate the marketplace. Yeah, that's the thing. Nick knows. He knows, like, that's his fucking job, dude, is to understand what people get paid and what their value is and shit. You know what I mean? He knows, like, yeah, AEW is a private company. He knows all their salaries. I guarantee it. Because that's his job to know them all, you know? And then here's Dave arguing with Grok. So just bringing up, you know, the Meltzer Grok meltdown. Raj Giri responds to Dave here. So Dave responds to Raj and says, so you missed where I said AEW and WWE were the exceptions to the rule like 10 times. And then Raj says, so why criticize Jimmy's question when this time was the exception to the last several pay-per-views?
We'll rule you.
Because Dave's a fucking dumbass. That's why, dude. He's just arguing to argue. He did a whataboutism. He played Captain Save-A-Ho on behalf of Tony Khan.
Tony Khan.
Backfired on him because it just made him look like a tribalist dork. And so now he's going, well, why is it relevant? It's the exception. And then you point out, well, so Korderas asked, why would you do this when it's the exception? And now you're freaking out about it. It's just so funny. It just never ends, dude. So here's what Dave had to say about my boyfriend. Tony Khan was double-crossed by AAA. So he backs up what Tony Khan had to say about being double-crossed by AAA. Again, buffoonery of the highest order. I'm letting y'all know this beforehand. Allegedly, tune into K100. All right?
Allegedly.
And I think you guys will hear Conan go off a little bit about this.
Conan!
I know Hughesy's busy this weekend, so I don't know if that clip or what episode's up or whatever the fuck, but Conan's probably got a lot to say about this. But anyways, let's hear what Dave has to say, Mushmouth Meltzer.
The AAA AEW relationship and how they got double-crossed with Dragon Lee. They got double-crossed. FTR were the AAA Tag Team Champions, which was a deal that Tony got it for them, and AAA was very happy to accommodate. And so they were going to lose the title to Roosh and Dralistico.
That would have been sick.
Something happened, and they were told that it's not going to be Roosh, it's going to be Dragon Lee. Tony did know that Dragon Lee was going to WWE. I didn't know that FTR called him and said that they smell something fishy because there's WWE cameras there. I did not know that part. The finish was supposed to be Dralistico winning. For whatever reason, I don't know why or how, the finish was changed, and it was Dragon Lee winning the fall.
For whatever reason?
Well, for the obvious reason.
So the obvious reason isn't Tony Khan was at the peak of his shit talk. Bald assholes. The Friday Night Wars, they're in court. They're in the fucking court. We're going to war. I'm not Jim Crockett. I'm not going to stand for this shit. bald assholes. So then WCW said, yeah, or WCW rather, what Tony wishes he was competing against or was. So then WWE went, yeah, AAA. Fuck them. Dragon Lee's coming to our Fed. So it's not like, oh, the obvious reason. It was a double cross from these snaky bastards. That's Dave's obvious reason. It's not. Tony was talking so much shit then. So last minute we switched it up. I can't wait to hear Conan go off because you know he's going to tell his side of shit. Well, Conan's just a WWE shill now. Is that what you're going to say about your friend, Dave? So, yeah, I can't wait. Conan's going to go off about this if he hasn't already. And again, it's like Tony was at the peak of shit talking WWE, bringing them up constantly, copying their shit on his show, copying his bits. Oh, Stone Cold sprayed them with a beer truck. Oh, MJF got sprayed with a fucking little bit of the bubbly truck. Isn't that fucking original? Oh, fucking hack repeat shit. Jericho's melting down on Christmas, talking shit around that time. Like, what are you fucking talking about, man? I'm pretty sure, right? Like 2022 or whatever. That's like peak Tony Khan talking shit. I'm pretty sure, dude. So, like, what are we talking about here, man?
Well, of course.
It has nothing to do with that. It's all because they're snaky bastards who just snaked him, Brian. They want to kill him, stabbing knife in the back.
He wins the fall and then immediately gets in the ring and announces that he's vacating the titles that he just won and he is signed with WWE. To make matters more interesting, immediately upon the conclusion of that match, there's a story. Mark Raimondi did it for Sports Illustrated on Dragon Lee signing with quotes and everything like that.
Sports Illustrated's been caught using fucking AI, dude.
After winning this championship match. So they set this whole thing up for an ESPN story on their website story and all that. And the nameplate still had like FTR's name on it while Dragon Lee's in these pictures with the belt that he is vacating. So that was the story, and that was what happened.
Yeah, so why would they waste the time putting his fucking nameplate on it when he's just vacating it, you dipshit? And yeah, Tony's talking all this shit in the media. They have an ESPN article. Let's fuck these guys over. It can't be because Tony had it coming. It's just all big bad Fed, you fucking victims.
And, it was the beginning of the end of the AAA and AEW relationship.
The beginning of the end, Brian. What a putz. So again, Dave Meltzer, AEW did 588K, a 0.15 last night, and that was the first place on cable. The number doesn't include HBO Max. So Raj says it's the follow-up from their biggest show of the year, and it scored. And everyone's like, why is Raj going off? Well, because these racist assholes start coming at him. And people fucking snap. They're not going to let you just talk shit and be fucking assholes. Like, I don't know what these sickos don't understand, man. But it scored one of their all-time lowest ratings. But hey, it beat South Park and Family Guy reruns and was tied with Gutfeld. You can try to spin it, but come the fuck on. Yeah, dude. It's just, that was first place on cable. The number doesn't include Max. It's like, yeah, it was up against cartoons and it did one of its shitty-est ratings, and you want to pretend there's a million people. So, again, Dav Boro, Down Bad Dav, says, it's always the Meltzer's ratings don't matter people that are always the most mad at his ratings. They're subjective. If you think a match is 5 stars and he doesn't, then why do you care? And then I just quote tweet this and go, it's always his star ratings are subjective people who don't understand that Dave claims they aren't subjective. This is why he gets roasted, because that makes no goddamn sense, like everything he says. Of course, stupid people don't get that. So Dave Meltzer responds, South Park was 9, Family Guy was 11. And Raj is like, there wasn't shit on. The number 3 show was South Park rerun, 4 and 5 were Family Guy reruns. And then of course Dave goes, oh, number 9 and whatever. Yeah, Dave, because you're South Park was 9, Family Guy was 11. Yeah, you're trying to nitpick Data. Raj drops the receipts in prime time. Nah. Got fucking, you beat South Park reruns, bro. Got called out. Got bitched up. So Jimmy Korderas says the fact some are doubling down on the Seth injury being a planned work ahead of time to mask an actual minor injury is hilarious. They can't admit they got incorrect intel. Meltzer says, you ought to talk to John Pollock. I mean, you could read the details that show it was planned before late June, but he'll blow you away if you want to know. Actually, no. So what Dave's going off of here, being such a condescending prick, Dave heard what Pollock said, what we played on the show, PWT Universe. We played it on the show, what Pollock said. Pollock came out and said, hey, I was told flat out they were going to work an injury and blah, 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 blah. So Meltzer hears what everyone else hears Pollock say. And then he invents all that. You should see the files. We have documents on it. Files even, Jimmy. Like, he's sitting here pretending like Pollock's fuck. And maybe Pollock did tell him about it. But, like, we know. Pollock said it on his show, you dipshit. Don't act like you have the fucking Nicolas Cage National Treasure Hidden Secret. What's that movie called? The fucking with Tom Hanks? The Illuminati one? What was that shit called? Those Dan Brown books or whatever the fuck. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's actually a knife hidden behind the Mona Lisa and a 666 that leads to the Vatican. And there's a helicopter that goes to the White House. Right? What was that shit called? Inception? I don't remember. I'm bad. I'm bad with the fucking names, dude. Right? But either way, dude, he's like, he'll blow you away if you want to actually know. Dave, it doesn't blow anyone away that he's just saying he was told that there was like a work shoot going to happen, which I kind of believe Pollock. I'm leaning that way, and I don't think Pollock would make himself look like that much of an asshole if he was wrong about it, right? So this guy here says, I just feel as a reputable journalist, which Dave is, he should not report speculative numbers as facts. It gives credibility to the fact that he clearly favors AEW over WWE, which is totally fine, but you shouldn't report speculation as fact. And then Meltzer goes, I think I need to block. You can't comment on what I do without reading it in its context. I never do that at all, Brian. And actually, you know, and if you like, you know, it was like, except you know, actually, if you read it, it would, you know, it would be obvious. And if you don't read, you don't belong commenting. What like a spurgy fucking dumb thing to say, dude. Just like a Meltzer's losing his shit here. So here's Brian trying to shit on Blake Monroe. So again, she's been in WWE for 4 fucking weeks. Okay, she's had like less than 10 segments. And Mariah May is the best ever, Brian. But now Blake Monroe's the shit.
Monroe, she's much better as a heel than a babyface. But this whole gimmick they have where she's got this video with the 60s music or whatever the hell they're doing, I know what it's built on, but I forget. It's just silly.
It's very silly.
And when she was in AEW, like they at least pushed her as like a serious top heel. Like whatever you thought about her, they treated her seriously.
What the fuck do you think her taking the title to the back of Jordan Grace is? And is seriously having 3-way makeout, champagne, eating vagina jokes with Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa, that's serious to you? Oh, okay.
And here it's just like it's silly. The gimmick is silly.
She's a spoof of a wrestler at this point.
It's like Tiffany when she was Daddy's.
So it wasn't silly when who was it again? I think it was it Mariah May who was like walking in the background hunting down, I don't know, it's all silly. You were involved in a Tony Storm thing. It's fucking silly.
Girl, and you know, she went shopping and used her daddy's money, and it's like it's a very one-dimensional, you know, it's just, I don't know, man. It's not working for me. Blake.
Yeah, that's fine, dude. I don't know if, yeah. Whatever, Brian. So, Dave Meltzer answers this J guy who says, why do people hate the fact that it's a possibility that AEW is doing 800K to 1 million? We don't hate it. It's just a lie. With HBO Max, I don't get it. They should be happy wrestling is doing so great. No, because then you start lying and saying wrestling's doing so great when WWE's doing so great, and then we're lying to people. Okay? That's the problem. Now, if in your opinion, in my opinion, it's great. That's awesome that they're on Max and everything. But we can't put that over because Dave's trying to make up lies to say they're beating Raw. Nope. If, let's say, aliens invaded and the news went on TV and we're like, they're actually our friends. Meanwhile, they're running in our houses and fucking kidnapping babies and killing people and shit. We're going to go, nope, that's not true. That's not true. These people came from Mars. They're Martians and it's Mars attacks. You know what I mean? You can't just like give us a shitty wrestling show. Most people go, that was terrible. And then you go, well, it's way better. It's actually so good. It's beating Raw. Maybe it's actually the best, it's so good. 30% they gain. Like, no, bro. No, that's why people call it out. It's not about hating that they do that number. It's not about that. It's just that so many lies, lie after lie after lie after lie. Now people are dedicated to debunking the fucking lies. So Meltzer says, I think everyone knows the answer. The idea that adding all those new homes wouldn't make a major difference is equally as silly and proven wrong. That a SmackDown move to Fox every week wouldn't lead to giant increases. If one is true, the other is true, and we have proof one is true. Oh, boy. No. It doesn't mean it's true. Raw is in way more homes. Dave is trying to sit there and say, and all these guys are trying to say it's doing the same as it did on USA. So, like, no, Dave, your own logic doesn't check out. I'm tired of explaining this shit. Okay, Switchblade says, we've already seen how Raw and Netflix added 12 million new homes from India and saw zero increase. Do you guys see it? 12 million new homes in India. Zero increase. So, Dave, your own logic, because you'll use that to diminish WWE. Your own logic your math don't math. Okay? So, Switchblade says, all publicly verifiable evidence points to AEW and Max numbers being negligible. I'd be shocked if they are doing more than 30K. Exactly. My guess is like 50K. I've always said that. As we know, NBA Max numbers were rounding error territory. So, Dave, he just doesn't study the business. That's the fucking problem, man. So, finally, he doesn't study the business. All we know about him is...
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
And so, Charlotte Flair, again, Dave just with an epic fail. He says Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss has been planned for SummerSlam. He gets fucking community noted. He gets fact-checked. Dave Meltzer is once again incorrect. As officially announced by WWE, Alexa and Charlotte will be teaming up to challenge for the women's tag titles at the show. Of course they are, because Dave doesn't know shit and he doesn't study the business. He doesn't even watch WWE, and he has absolutely zero sources. And that's why he gets cooked. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.